President Obama announces a major change to immigration policy and hopes to shore up the Hispanic vote. Now, is this the right step toward reform, administrative amnesty, or just plain old political pandering? Joining me from Washington, D.C. with analysis is Daniel Halper, contributor with the Weekly Standard. Daniel, thanks for joining us today. Talk a little bit about the timing of this announcement. I don't find it any coincidence that the president has a major address to the National Latino Legislative Group next week. What do you think about the timing of this whole thing?
Obviously, timing has a lot to do with everything in politics. I think the most charitable reading of the president's latest move on immigration is that perhaps, you could actually assign it to sort of all his latest evolutions. Perhaps he comes to the realization that he could very well be a one-term president, and he wants to set the record straight. He wants to do things that he thinks are important, such as switch on gay marriage, such as switch on immigration. That's obviously the most charitable. Being a cynic, I ascribe more to the political expediency of such a move. As you suggest, he's got a big address coming up, but more importantly, this could very well fit into a divide and conquer plan. If you look at a lot of his policy prescriptions, they really benefit one group individual. So if you talk about like student loans, for instance, which the president has talked about many times on the stump, how the Republicans want to raise student loans. Students and universities tend to be liberal havens. They tend to have a lot of Democrats, a lot of liberal supporters, and a lot of voters. Same with gay marriage. You could also ascribe the same motivations to his flip on gay marriage, and the same is true with immigration. Now, I think coming in an election year and also considering the fact that President Obama has deported more illegal immigrants than any other president, that he has actually beefed up various immigration facets. I think you can't help but consider this as a political move.
I'm with you, Daniel. I'm a cynic myself, and as we've all seen, June hasn't been the best month for the president. The job numbers have stalled. His administration's being accused of leaking vital national security information for political gain. And as you talked about, Latinos have one of the highest unemployment rates in the nation. I mean, is this just another way for him to change the conversation and not talk about the economy?
It certainly seems that way. And yesterday, interestingly enough, he tried to change the conversation. He had a big speech that was billed as a reform. It was going to be change the whole debate, a reframing of his campaign. And it was such an utter failure that it seems like the next day he sort of had this in this back pocket ready to go. It's all curious. Who really knows what they're thinking over there in the White House and in Chicago where his campaign is? But it certainly is all curious.
Well, yeah, I know he elaborated a little bit about what exactly this proposal would put forth. I know a lot of it mimics the DREAM Act that he's failed to get support for in Congress. But, talk a little bit about, just the legality. I mean, is this another promise that the president is making that he may not even be able to keep?
Probably. I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a constitutional expert, so perhaps I'm not the best to answer that. But it would seem to me that you would need Congress's approval to just circumvent the laws. And the thing is, he did have some sort of bipartisan support for some of these proposals. He could have, if he had laid the groundwork, if he had done the hard work, and if he had tried to get actually comprehensive immigration reform, perhaps he would have gotten it done. This move, this unilateral move, I think won't bode well for any sort of immigration reform that will be lasting and actually written in the law. I think any Republicans who might have been inclined to support him are now not going to be inclined to support him, and it's become such a political wedge issue that I think will be really hard for anybody to support him, even if they're inclined to agree with him, that it's just so baldly political.
Yeah, just final question here, because I know you talked a little bit about your article, but talk about how, do you think this could potentially create a backlash for the president who's trying to woo some more of these industrial states? We know he's struggling with white male voters. I mean, what's your take on all this? Do you think this is risky for the president or a good move for him?
Well, carrying on the political vein, it seems to me that the president wouldn't roll this out unless he was sort of sure that it would shore up some of his support. So I wouldn't think actually that it would hurt him as much as critics might suggest. I mean, I'm sure it's been a focus group. I'm sure it's been polled. I'm sure that they've done their research on this proposal. I don't think it was, I don't think it was, though I think they had it prepared and ready to go. I don't think it was a, just an immediate like he woke up this morning and decided they're going to roll it out today. I think there might have been some more thought and more research done into it. So I'm not sure it will hurt him. It could actually be beneficial to him.
Well, Daniel, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us your commentary.
Thanks for having me.
And you could read more of Daniel's work over at theweeklystandard.com. For PJTV, I'm Alexis Garcia. Thanks for watching.